and then we're going to bring verses of the Quran so you can pick out what you have understood. Okay? Is it not working? We've had this trouble today before as well. I think the internet's been a bit down. Right, okay, so let's start. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Last week I had mentioned, so you have to be familiar with the Arabic language. We're not going into too much grammar because it becomes very difficult to understand. So I'm only going to give you some points of the Arabic language that you learn, which makes it easy to understand words from the Quran. So last week we discussed when there's a name, it will not have an alif lam on it. Like Musa, like Isa, like Harun, they will not have alif lam on them because you know it's Musa, you know it's Isa, you know it's Harun. Okay? Sometimes you will find these words that will have alif lam, and there's some words that will not have alif lam in the Arabic language. Right? Okay. Right, so let's move on. The first word that you've got is al-hajju. Al-hajju means hajj. Very simple. In the Quran, in Surah Al-Baqarah, it comes وَأَتِمُّ الْحَجَّ وَالْعُمْرَةَ لِلَّهِ. In the Quran, there's a surah called Surah Al-Hajj in para 17. In the Quran, in para number 4, Allah mentions وَلِلَّهِ عَلَى النَّاسِ حِجُّ الْبَيْتِ مَنِ اسْتَطَاعَ إِلَيْهِ سَبِيلًا. A very simple explanation of Hajj is you are visiting. So this part you don't need to note down, it's just additional notes that I'm giving you. You only have to write the translation, or if you know it, you don't need to write it. Al-Hajj means Hajj. To explain Hajj in a simple way, زِيَارَةُ مَكَانٍ مَخْصُوصٍ. You go to visit a special place. And it is in a special months and in special days. When you go for Hajj, you have to visit special places. You go to perform your tawaf. You go to Makkah. You go to Mina, Muzdalifah, Arafah. You can't go to California to perform Hajj. You have to go to them certain places. Number 2 is in fixed days. You decide, like, I've got work in Dhul Hijjah, so I'll go and do my Hajj in Ramadan. Is it going to work? No, because it's in fixed days. It's in fixed months that you have to perform your Hajj. Okay? Let's move on. So I've given you words and where it comes in the Quran, but that is going to be more for those that have memorized the Quran, easier for them to relate to. Those that are non-hafiz, you can just listen to these words that have come. But the ones that I've done hifz, I will mention where it comes in the Quran. Number 2, al-jihadu. Al-jihadu means striving. Another word for al-jihadu that comes in the Quran is what jihad means, which holy war, where you go and fight the enemy. But jihad also means, you can say, striving. A person strives and struggles, either to go against your desire or either when you go and fight in the holy war, jihad. Number 3, al-jawabu means response. Response. In Urdu you say sawal, jawab. Sawal is like question, jawab is the response. In the Quran it comes فَمَا كَانَ جَوَابَ قَوْمِهِ. What was the response of his nation? Or there was no response of his nation. فَمَا كَانَ طَهَ جَوَابَ قَوْمِهِ. Response. Al-kalamu means speech. You may have heard kalamullah, Allah's speech. The Quran is the kalam of Allah. The next word is al-mujahidu, which means emigrator. So you get one type of word which is migration or immigration. And this word al-mujahid is with the E. The spelling would be with the E, not with an I. So a person that, sorry, that's the next word, muhajir, that I've given you. Good job, Fahad. Maizallah is looking at me. Al-mujahid means the striver. Sorry, I got mixed up with the other word, next word. Al-mujahid means the striver. So a person that does jihad is a mujahid also, that goes striving out in the path of Allah. In the Quran, the word comes al-mujahiduna fi sabilillah. Yes? لا يستوي القاعدون من المؤمنين غير أولي الضرر والمجاهدون في سبيل الله. Those that strive in Allah's path. They fight in Allah's path. So striving, the striver is the mujahid. And the plural is mujahidun.
What does the word mean then?
So it could mean so the meaning in the dictionary is a striver that comes in the Quran also, that person that strives to go against their desire, or it could mean a person that goes out for jihad. Both meanings that have come. So that translation, right, striver. But the meaning that you have to understand, two ways that it can come in the Quran: a person that strives against their nafs, or a person that goes out and does jihad, fights in Allah's way.
I'm just asking because you brought in jihad striving, and then in mujahid you're writing striving.
No, we're doing mujahid at the moment.
That's what I'm saying.
You said
Okay.
jihad with similar meanings.
What's the
Okay,
difference?
so the difference, that's a very good question. That is awake. So that is a very good question. Al-jihadu and al-mujahidu, what's the difference in them? That, to understand that, you'll have to go a bit more into grammar, but I'll explain a little bit. Okay. Mujahid is a person that is doing the action. Yes? Like muhajir, mujahid, the person that is doing the action. Okay? And al-jihad is the actual thing, the striving, the person that is doing the action will be the mujahid. He is striving. It's in Arabic, grammar is called ism fa'il. But don't get too much into it, and it's going to get a little tricky. But that was a good question. So jihad and mujahid. So the person that is doing that action is a mujahid. Okay? Whenever we come on a word which is doing action, I'll explain it a bit more. So then you don't struggle with the translations. Okay? Right, let's move on now. Al-Muhajir. It's a very common word. Have you heard the Sahabas? What did they do when they went from Mecca to Medina? Hijrah. Yeah? Immigration. Now, but a muhajir is a person that is doing the action. So what will he be a? Immigrator. Okay?
What does it mean?
Immigrator, the muhajir. So a person.
There's not no such word.
Emigrate, yes. Emigrate, you need someone from one country going to another country.
Yes, this word has actually been written in the Quran translation by, that's the same thing. I started doing some deep research into this, because you get migration, you get immigration. Okay? And a person that does hijrah, like the Sahabas did from Makkah to Mukarramah, you leave one place and go to another place to live. So the Sahabas, they were muhajirin. That's a plural word for this. Yeah? And the people that were in Medina, they were the Ansar, the helpers.
So they move from one place to another.
Yes. So the translation, there is, if anyone does not find this word, they can come back and we'll discuss it. With the E, it's not with an I. Okay, a person that is moving from one place to the other. Immigrate. a muhajir. He's doing the action. Remember, migration would be the word hijrah. When you're doing the action, the translation will change. Okay?
So it's immigrate with an E, or the action being
Yes, that's it.
I-double-M as an immigrant.
Yes.
Question I wanted to ask actually was how we have refugee in English. Do we have an Arabic word which is specifically for refugee, or does refugee also, does it also apply as a meaning to muhajir as well? Does it have a different connotation in Arabic like it does in English? So you might have somebody who immigrates, but they're not necessarily a refugee, for example. Do we have an Arabic word, or can you use the same word as muhajir for refugee?
So if you were to explain a refugee definition, if that definition fits into this explain, what would the definition be?
So anybody who's affected by circumstances, they would immigrate because of that. So can you still use the word muhajir in this case, or is there another word in Arabic which would fit that?
So a person that leaves their place and goes and lives in another place like the Sahabas did because of their situation, circumstance, that is a muhajir.
But I think refugee is a new word. Why? Because them days they didn't have borders and this and that and that.
So yeah, that gets a bit,
Regardless of circumstances, muhajir will still apply because
I think so, yeah.
they have. So when we're discussing al-muhajir in the Quran, is referring to the muhajirin and the ansar, the sahabas that moved from Makkah to Medina, and the ansar are the helpers that were in Medina Munawwara. And the action itself is that movement that they're doing, is a muhajir. لِلْفُقَرَاءِ الْمُهَاجِرِينَ, it comes in the Quran, in para 28. Okay, let's move on to the next word, ar-rasulu and an-nabiyyu. There's some detail in this that we need to go through. Ar-rasulu translate as messenger, an-nabiyyu translate as prophet. In the Quran, you've heard ar-rasulu an-nabiyyu many times, and I've read it, and it comes in different forms. Rasul, the plural is rusul. Nabi, the plural is anbiya, nabiyyin, nabiyyun. You've read all of them in the Quran. So this is just extra information that you've got for ar-rasulu and an-nabiyyu. So mostly when you read ar-rasul in the Quran, it's referring to a messenger. Okay, Allah sent messengers. Yes? What's the difference between a prophet and a messenger? Does anyone know? Brother Fahad.
I think messenger, a prophet is someone who comes to confirm what Allah sent through previous messengers, and a messenger is one who brings a new message, a new rule book.
Yeah, so Rasul is the one that comes with a new law, a new Sharia that is set by Allah. A new law, a new Sharia. A prophet, a Nabi, follows the Sharia of the Rasul that came before him. So let's look at some examples in the Quran. The first Rasul, so the first prophet we know was Adam alayhi salam, the first Rasul that was sent. Does anyone know who was it? Who was the first Rasul that was sent? Adam alayhi salam was the first prophet. He was the first Nabi. Nuh alayhi salam. Nuh alayhi salam was the first Rasul that was sent. In the Quran you will find the Hafizes, Inni lakum Rasulun Amin, Rasulullah. Isa alayhi salam was Rasulullah. It comes in the Quran, وَإِذْ قَالَ عِيسَى بْنُ مَرْيَمَ يَا بَنِي إِسْرَائِيلِ إِنِّي رَسُولُ اللَّهِ إِلَيْكُمْ. Musa alayhi salam was a Rasul also. Isa alayhi salam was a Rasul. Nuh alayhi salam was a Rasul. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam was a Rasul, messenger of Allah. There are 5 messengers which Allah has mentioned in the Quran that were from all the messengers, they were the best. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, Isa alayhi salam, Musa alayhi salam, Nuh alayhi salam, and Ibrahim alayhi salam. The difference with Rasul and Nabi, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent messengers, they were also Rasools, they were given miracles. Musa alayhi salam had miracle. What was the miracle? His staff and his hand that would glow. And when people denied the message of a Rasool that came, Allah's punishment came on them. We've got full stories in the Quran. But you have Nabis, the Bani Israel, the Jews, they killed so many prophets, Nabis, even 70 in one day. Na'udhu billah. But when Rasul, people denied the Rasul, then Allah's punishment came on them. The ones that didn't believe. Nuh alayhi salam was a Rasul. His nation, they refused his message. So what happened? The flood came. Musa alayhi salam was a Rasul. When his message came, people denied, Allah's punishment came. How many Rasuls are there? There's almost 313. Some of them Allah has mentioned, some of them Allah has not mentioned. And that's a verse of the Quran as well. Right, okay, Al-Munafiqu means hypocrite. There's a surah in the Quran also called Surah Munafiqun. In the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, people that said the kalima with their tongue, but inside their heart they were disbelievers. Hypocrite. Okay, let's move on. Al-Amalu means deed. Al-Amalu means deed. So basically, it's an action that you intend. So you can intend to do something good or you can intend to do something bad. Al-Amalu means deed. In the Quran it comes, وَالْعَمَلُ الصَّالِحُ يَرْفَعُ. A good deed that you have done. إِنَّ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ. Deed. So now a person, what they intend. If they intend, they can do a good deed. They intend, they can do a bad deed. But the amal is deed. Al-adlu means justice. In Urdu, it's the same word. Adl, adl or insaf. Al-adlu means justice. In the Quran, it comes for justice also. Al-la'natu, same in Urdu, la'nat, curse. Sometimes mothers, they curse their own children without realizing what type of effects that it can have. أُولَٰئِكَ عَلَيْهِمْ لَعْنَةُ اللَّهِ. Allah's curse upon them. It comes in the Quran. Okay, next, Al-Qamaru means moon. Is that Nasheed Qamarun? Anyone heard it? Yeah. Famous Nasheed. There's a surah in the Quran also called Surah Qamar, para 27. اقتربت الساعة وانشق القمر. It was a miracle. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam with his finger, he pointed at the moon and it split in two. Allahu Akbar. Okay, Al-Arshu means throne. Almost 17 times in the Quran, Allah has mentioned about His throne. An-nadamatu means regret. In the Quran, Allah has mentioned وَأَسَرٌّ نَدَامَةَ لَمَّا رَأَوُا الْعَذَابِ. They will hide, conceal the regret when they see the punishment. Nadamat is in Urdu as well. If you know your Urdu, you'll know nadamat, afsos, sharmindagi, nadamat, same. Ibrahim.
Why is the last letter in red?
Sorry?
Why is the last letter in red?
You have to read that.
Good, yes. That will come. I'm going to explain that to you now. Okay? Let's just get the translation done. Good question, because red, Ibrahim's concern, red, like it's that danger. Why is it red? Yeah, so we'll get, once we do the translation, then I'll explain. So that means danger, innit? That's why someone said that, I got married, but there was no warning before about the danger. So someone said to him that the dulhan, the bride, is dressed in red. That was the sign, but they didn't get it. Okay, let's move on. Al-masjidu means masjid. Al-yatimu means orphan. In the Quran, many times this word has come. أرأيت الذي يكذب بالدين فذلك الذي يدع اليتيم. Orphan is a person that has lost their father and they have not reached the age of puberty. And when they reach the age of puberty, they're no longer an orphan. The hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. So that's a child that's lost their father, they're 5-6 years old, the father's passed away. What is this? An orphan. Okay? Now, when they reach the age of puberty, that is now they will no longer be an orphan. Otherwise, you will have orphans. Everyone, how many have lost their fathers? That's it.
So, if the person knows that they're not off.
The Sharia, the Quran does not declare that. The term used for in animals, yes. In animals, if you lose your mother, then they will be as orphan. You see, father is such an important role because you've asked the question. I'll give you a minute on that. Father is such an important role in children's life that if they lose that father, the Quran declares them as an orphan in that. Because a father, you see, no one, the love that the mother has for the child, no one can have more love than that. But the upbringing of the child, the education, the welfare, everything that child has lost. So the Quran declares that this is a yatim, an orphan. The opportunity where they get in life, the upbringing, they had a father figure. That role has gone, so the Quran says they are yatim. Not if the mother's passed away. It's a big loss also, but yatim will be if you lose your father. Okay? And I've told you when that ends as well. Let's move on. Al-ibratu. Al-ibratu is warning. Ibrat in Urdu. If you know your Urdu, you can pick on that as well. Ibrat. This is an ibrat. Where does ibrat come in the Quran? Allah mentions about the story of Firaun. هل أتاك حديث موسى إذ ناداه ربه بالوادي المقدس طوى. Allah mentioned the story اذهب إلى فرعون to Musa alayhi salam, go to the Pharaoh. The whole story comes in إن في ذلك لعبرة لمن يخشى. It's a warning for those that will be fearful. Another good translation, but I thought I'd leave this because it's going to get long, was instructive guidance. It was a beautiful translation which is very comprehensive. But I stuck to warning because I thought it'd be easier. Ibrat, ibrat. If you know your Urdu, that's fine. Okay, al-ibn means son. Son. So I'll give you an example. The king of Saudi Arabia, what is he called?
Muhammad bin Sulaiman.
King Salman. Okay? He has a son. What's his son called? Muhammad. So Muhammad, son of Salman. MBS is, I was giving an example of someone that you know. So when you say his name, what do you say? Muhammad bin Salman. Salman is the dad. Muhammad is the son of Salman. Hopefully that example you'll remember things. That's why you always see in Arabs, they always have Muhammad bin, he's the son of such and such person. And in writing, it'll be, that will be crossed, the Hamza will be crossed off. It'll be bin, Muhammad bin Salman. That's why it's like that. And when you actually write it al-ibn, but when you pronounce it Muhammad bin Salman, you wouldn't say Muhammad ibn Salman.
Because it's the name.
Yeah.
When would you pronounce Ibn? So like for example this Ibn Kathir or when they call it.
When it's at the beginning.
Okay.
So that was good, Mash. You see, you're thinking now. You're thinking where it comes and how. That is very good, Masha.
So if you don't put name before that, how's his name?
Then Ibn, like Ibn Kathir, you give example. You know the tafsir Ibn Kathir. Ibrahim,
Are these words singular or plural?
single. At the moment, we're not going to go into plural. I'll just tell you about them. After 3-4 lessons, we're going to start doing plural. They're all single. Right, okay, let's move on. Al-Mizanu means scale. On the day of judgment, there's going to be a scale, and whatever deeds you've done, they're going to be put into that scale. وَنَضَعُ الْمَوَازِينَ الْقِسْطِ. Right, let's move on. Al-Musibatu means calamity. مَا أَصَابَ مِن مُصِيبَةٍ إِلَّا بِإِذْنِ اللَّهِ. No calamity can befall anyone without Allah's permission. Al-Izzatu means honor. In the Quran, إِنَّ الْعِزَّةَ لِلَّهِ جَمِيعًا وَلِلَّهِ الْعِزَّةُ وَلِرَسُولِهِ وَلِلْمُؤْمِنِينَ. Is it clicking, Harun? Honor. Al-Dhillatu means humiliation. The Jews, Allah has mentioned about them, وَضُرِبَتْ عَلَيْهِمُ الذِّلَّةُ وَالْمَسْكَنَةُ. Endorsed, humiliation was endorsed upon them. Al-Dhillatu, Zillat in Urdu. Izzat, Zillat, easy. Al-Rizqu means provision. Allahu yabsutu rizqa liman yasha'u wa yaqdir. Allah spreads provision for whoever He wants and keeps it less. That's your sustenance, your food. Al-Maghfiratu means forgiveness. Maghfirah is in Urdu as well, Maghfirat. Okay? Mashriq, Maghrib, we need to get these right because these come in the Quran quite a few times. Al-Mashriqu means east and Al-Maghribu means west.
Is the word Maghrib also used for dusk? Evening Maghrib time now.
Yes. That's another, yeah, that's that. So we'll do that in Ghurub.
Okay.
We'll come, that's coming. Tulu and Ghurub.
Maghrib is just west of the Gulf.
Yeah. So over here, when it refers to Mashriq and Maghrib, that means east and west. Okay? When it refers to Ghurub, then we'll discuss that is when the sun is setting. In the Quran, the story of Ibrahim alayhi salam, فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ يَأْتِي بِالشَّمْسِ مِنَ الْمَشْرِقِ فَأْتِ بِهَا مِنَ الْمَغْرِبِ. So when Ibrahim alayhi salam had told the king of his time that believe in Allah, he said, I can give life and death. He called one person, okay, I'll kill him and I'll keep him alive. Ibrahim alayhi salam said, look, Allah brings the sun from the east to the west, you bring it from the west. فَأْتِ بِهَا مِنَ الْمَغْرِبِ. He was totally gobsmacked, he could not give any answer. رَبُّ الْمَشْرِقَيْنِ وَرَبُّ الْمَغْرِبَيْنِ in Surah Rahman also. The next, At-Tulu'u Al-Ghurubu. So they both used in the Quran that are related to the sun. So At-Tulu means raising. And in the Quran, it means when the sun rises. Al-Ghurubu means setting. And when it comes in the Quran, it refers to when the sun sets. قبل طلوع الشمس وقبل غروبها. The sun rises. Tulu, you know Tulu? Yaji Tulu. Or the sun is rising and ghurub setting. So when it comes in the Quran, قبل طلوع الشمس before the sun rises, وقبل غروبها before it sets. Do tasbih and worship Allah. As-safaru means travel. Safar is in Urdu as well. In fact, when the ruku in Surah Baqarah, it comes about travel also. فَمَنْ كَانَ مِنْكُمْ مَرِيضًا أَوْ عَلَى سَفَرٍ. Al-Ayah. Now you're going to have to put two translations for this. Number one is verse. Number two is miracle. So al-ayatu in the Quran has come as a verse and also as a miracle. فَأَرَاهُ الْآيَةَ الْكُبْرَى. Allah showed him a big miracle. Big miracle of Musa alayhi salam when he hit the staff, it became a serpent. When he put his hand under his arm, it started to glow. That was a miracle. So that ayah is come in the Quran for verse and for miracle.
Isn't it a sign? A sign.
There's a few translations that you can do as well, but like that's one translation as well. Sign, miracle, and a verse as well. Al-Umratu means Umrah. You make intention, perform tawaf, 7 rounds around the Kaaba, go Safa, Marwa, shave your hair or do qasr, your Umrah is done. Al-Umratu Umrah. Al-Firaqu means separation. هذا فراق بيني وبينك. Musa alayhi salam and Khadir, when they had to separate, because Musa alayhi salam and Khizr alayhi salam, they had some conditions. Khizr alayhi salam said, you're not allowed to ask any questions. Musa alayhi salam asked questions. So what happened? هذا فراق بيني وبينك. That's it now. This is our separation. We're going to go our own way. Firaq, judai in Urdu. Al-maradu, illness. Ash-shifa'u means cure. Shifa pharmacy. Now you know why it's called Shifa pharmacy. Shifa is in Urdu as well. Shifa comes in the Quran. Shifa'ul linnas, Allah mentions about honey. Actually, it should have been Shifa pharmacy, not Shifa pharmacy, innit? Shifa. Shifa is in Urdu as well. And the last word, ad-dharratu, which means particle. فَمَنْ يَعْمَلْ مِثْقَالَ ذَرَّةٍ خَيْرًا يَرَى. Whoever does one good deed equal to the in way of a particle will see it on the day of resurrection. A small amount, you're going to see it. وَمَنْ يَعْمَلْ مِثْقَالَ ذَرَّةٍ شَرًّا يَرَى.
All the words there, they're all Urdu words there. It's not Urdu.
So what it is, if you actually know Urdu well,
All Urdu words.
then this last week we discussed this. If you know your Urdu really well, it will make Arabic very easy for you. There's so many words here that if you know Urdu, you know them already.
All Urdu, yes, all Urdu.
That's the advantage. But I don't like to repeat that because there's a lot of non-Urdu speaking brothers here that are going to get me after class. What's all this about? What is there for us? But whoever makes effort will go ahead. Right, now we're going to come to the question which Ibrahim asked, mashallah, very good question. Without getting into any technical grammar, if you look at the words that have got that, you'll notice all of them have a ta at the end. So, if you look here, this is one type of ta. Okay? If you look here, that's another type of ta. Right? Wherever you see this ta and this one, that is giving you a sign at the end of the letter that this word is feminine. In Arabic language, you have two things, masculine, feminine, which is called mudhakkar, muannas. In some languages, they have 3 terms. In Arabic, when you find a word in the Quran, you're going to have to either put it in masculine or feminine. Now, not always it's going to refer to a female. It can be a thing. For example, like al-la'natu. Where is it gone? Oh, is it gone? Is
So that,
okay.
there is.
La'nat, curse. So are you gonna say la'na is a female? It's mu'annas, is feminine, but it's not referring to a female. It's the word is female and the sign is feminine because of this ta. There was a school teacher that asked my son, can I ask you a question? Is God Allah, is he masculine or feminine? Is he or is he she? Because when you look in the Quran, translates as he. So I went in and I spoke to the teacher and I said, God Allah is neither he neither she. But then she said, why is it translated as he? So I said, in the Arabic language, you either have to put a word into a masculine or feminine. So there's no sign in the word Allah of feminine. Like that's a sign at the end, that ta is telling you that this word is feminine. So there's no sign, so then we have to put it into a category of masculine. That doesn't mean that it's he or she. Whenever you see a ta at the end, the ta could be these three types of tas. Number one, like this. Number two is al-maghfirah, if it's here, there, like this. And the third ta, Ibrahim. Did I send you that picture? If you can just scroll. Or have you got it on yours? I have to give you this example from the Quran so then you understand. إن المسلمين والمسلمات والمؤمنين والمؤمنات. Can you see that ta at the end? Alif ba ta. That comes with two dots. There we go. Okay. Right. This is important. A lot of you probably have heard this verse on TikTok. You enjoy listening to it because it rhymes. But now understand it a bit more. Can you see this star that's here? That's a sign that is feminine. So Muslim men, Muslim women. Mu'mineen, mu'minat. That ta is telling you that is mu'min, ladies. Qaniteen, qanitat. Sadiqeen, sadiqat. Sabirin, sabirat. Khashi'in, khashi'at. Mutasaddiqeen, mutasaddiqat. When you see a ta, three types of ta at the end of the word, what is that telling you? That is feminine. Could refer to a female, like mushrik is a male, a person that associates partners with Allah. That ta at the end, mushrika, it means that it's a female that is associating partners with Allah. In the Quran, let me give you two examples. Az-zani, what's the next word? Was-zaniyatu. Zani means a man that fornicates. Zaniyatu is a female that fornicates. Okay. As-sariqu, a male that is a thief. And what's the next word? Was-sariqatu with a ta, that's a female.
So is noon masculine?
That's another, don't get into that technical, but yes, that is a sign that is masculine. But I'm not going to get into that yet. When it's time in the book, then I'll get into it. For now, we're focusing on the feminine. Mudhakkar, mu'annas. The sign of the tas. But that is, yeah, all them that have come with their day for male. That are patient, that worship Allah, that give sadaqah, that fast. And that ta at the end is telling you that is feminine. Is that okay? Three tas that we've gone through.
Go on janazah as well for the child.
Yep. That's it. This is what, you know, when you start thinking then, that look, Allahumma ja'alhu lana farata. And when it's for a girl, Allahumma ja'al halana. These little changes that you have, anta means you, anti is for the female. Okay? Right, so this verse, Muslimin, Muslimat, Mu'mineen, Mu'minat, Qaniteen, Qanitat, we've gone through all the tas. Wherever you see that in the Quran, that you'll see, okay, now I know that is feminine. And if you want to learn the words, best Mudhakkar, Mu'annas. Mu'annas is feminine. Okay, back to where we were. Ibrahim, is that okay? Where you gone? Do you understand that? Clear? Right. Bigger, please, screen. Okay, move down. Right, okay, exercise now. Now we're going to do practice. Al-jihadu, al-mujahidu, al-muhajiru. So I'll translate them all just to make it easier to go through. The others that come. Al-jihadu means striving. Al-mujahidu.
The one who strives.
That's it, that's
The one who
that.
strives.
The one side. Okay. Al-muhajiru,
The one who emigrates.
emigrants, that's it. Al-munafiqu, hypocrite. Al-adlu, justice. Al-qamaru, moon. Al-musibatu, calamity. Al-yatimu, orphan. Al-la'natu, curse. The next words, kalam. How would I bring that into Arabic? Al-kalamu. Munafiq, al-munafiqu. The next third word, adlu, al-adlu. Izzatu, al-izzatu. Dhilla, al-dhillatu. Mashriq, al-mashriqu. Maghrib, al-maghribu. Tulu, al-tulu'u. Rizq, al-rizqu. Mujahid, al-mujahidu. The next words, question number 3. Al-hajju, al-jihadu, al-muhajiru, al-masjidu, al-mujahidu. It's the same thing that we've gone through. The next is the writing. Writing can be a pain, but what we'll do, one person will write, inshallah, and then we'll put it up on the group, then the rest can copy. Because there's 2 exercises we're going to have every word you have to write. You can't escape it. One is writing the zabar zer pesh on the words, and the second is ending these words. So if you look at the word, first word, an-nadamatu, it's just a ta that you have to add on. If you can do it, it's not difficult. But for those that have not done it, inshallah, we will put it up on the group. So if you go up a bit, Usman, that's it. Stop there.
Is the writing compulsory?
Writing is compulsory because you won't see the benefit now, but you will see it after. Because you will get used to pronouncing the words right. And if you actually just look at the word, an-nadamatu, just keep saying and you'll know to whether to put zabar zer pesh. These 2 exercises, we'll put them up, but you must write. I want to see the writing, inshallah. Everyone has to do the writing. So the top one, you just have to fill in the letter that's missing. It's a ta an-nadamatu. Al-rizq is a qaf. Al-izza is a ta diyan. Al-maghfirah is a ta diyan. Al-mizan is a noon there. Al-safar is a ra. Al-adl is a lam. Al-maghrib is a ba. Al-ghurub is a waw missing. Al-rasul is a waw missing. Exercise number 5, they want you to put zabar zer pesh on all of them. Al-munafiqu. Mim has got a dhamma. Fa will have a
Pesh.
pesh. What will fa have? Zer. Al-munafi and qaf. How many pesh will qaf have? 1 or 2? 1. Munafiqu. Same as, but we'll put it up on the group to make it easy. These 2 exercises, inshallah, Qasim, if you write it down, and we'll put yours or one of them on the group so then everyone else can copy, but you have to write. Jazakallah Hafiz Harun for asking. Is it compulsory? 100%. You won't see the benefit now, but you will thank me later. When you see that, let's move on. Exercise number 6. Ibrahim, can you make up that first word? Ya ta ya mim. Yatim. Next. Mim sin jim dal. Masjid. Usman, next. Mizan. Brother Fahad. Qamar. Adam, next. That's a hard one, but he'll get it, inshallah. Anyone else?
Miraj.
Muhajir. Okay, next. Munafiq. Yeah, that's right, mashallah. Next. Izza. Next, ghurub. Okay, last exercise. The whole purpose of learning these words was this last exercise here. Can you make it bigger, please? If possible. Yes, jazakallah. No, not that big. Just so we can see all of them. Number one, Inna Allah ya'muru bil adli wal ihsan is part of the verse of the Quran. Which word do you know there? Al-adl. So highlight, or you can put a line underneath that. Each lesson will give you more confidence that you are understanding words of the Quran. That's right. You hear this in the khutbah as well. Okay, let's move on. وَضُرِبَتْ عَلَيْهِمُ الذِّلَّةُ. Which word do you know? الذِّلَّةُ. So put a line underneath. Harun, is that okay? You're not putting no line and it seems like you got the full translation set. Okay, let's move on. وَلِلَّهِ الْمَشْرِقُ وَالْمَغْرِبُ. There. So can you see each lesson when you read these verses of the Quran, you are getting the words. Next. وَسَبِّحْ بِحَمْدِ رَبِّكَ قَبْلَ طُلُوعِ الشَّمْسِ. طلوع. وَجَاهِدْهُمْ بِهِ جِهَادًا كَبِيرًا. Jihadan. And jahid is actually the same word. It's a command where Allah is saying, strive against them. وَيَكُونَ الرَّسُولُ عَلَيْكُمْ شَهِيدًا. الرَّسُولُ. You know that means messenger. Next. وَالْعَمَلُ الصَّالِحُ يَرْفَعُ. Al-amal. Salih means pious. Amal means deed. Pious deed. Okay. أَنَّ اللَّهَ يَبْسُطُ الرِّزْقَ لِمَنْ يَشَاءُ. الرِّزْق. Next, the last one. وَإِن كُنتُمْ عَلَى سَفَرٍ وَلَمْ تَجِدُوا. Safar. So let's summarize almost 36 words of the Quran that we've gone through. Number 2, we did 6 exercises, or 7 altogether, with them words. That's including the writing that you need to do. And then we went through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 verses or part of verses of the Quran where we are looking at the words that we can understand. And as you move on, now you can pick up one word. As you move on, you'll start to pick up 2 words. Then you'll pick up 3 words. And then 4, inshallah. So, alhamdulillah, the lesson's complete. Put your hands up, just be honest, who did the group work, the groups that we made?